Hello, Hero Collectors here. How's it going, everybody? Hope y'all are doing fantastic. I know I am, and today we're going to be cracking open these two Marvel Legends figures from the comic book-based wave, comic accessory wave. I am blanking on exactly what it's supposed to be called, but here we have Banshee, and we'll just flip him to the back so you can see all the other figures in the wave. I guess if you want to read the bios, you can. I'm not one that usually pays attention to those. But yeah, I've got these two figures. I have already done a video unboxing the Dark Wolverine figure, but I figured I'd put these two together because I don't actually have a lot really to say with Banshee or do comparisons. I've got two figures to compare him to. And then this Miles is one that I'm going to do some quick comparisons, but I want to really just test out the articulation and see how those hips are in hand. So yeah, let's start with Banshee. All right, getting into Banshee here. You can see he comes with giant size X-Men #1, and I just flung a bunch of plastic pieces. I always make a mess of my desk whenever I do these unboxings. But before we get into getting the figure off the tray, take a look at this mini comic. It's the mini comic wave. That's what I should have said earlier. But yeah, here's giant size X-Men #1. This is a book that I have not read, but will be reading later this year. I have read the, first 66 issues of X-Men, but I have not read the kind of Chris Claremont takeover of X-Men. I know this was not Chris Claremont that wrote this one, but I'm going to get into this era very soon this year, so it's nice to have this as a little memento or just like representation in the collection. There it is compared to Dark Avengers #1. Like I said, I already did a video on Dark Wolverine, so you can go check that out. But yeah, here is giant size X-Men for the collection. But now let's get Banshee out of the tray. And before I go any further, I will say I don't have the previous Banshees. So there was this costume done way back in, what was it, the dark days of Marvel Legends. So that kind of, I want to say it was 2008 era. I've never owned that figure. And then I did not get the 3-pack X-Men X uniforms from 2 years ago. So I'm not familiar with how this whole wing system works in hand. Like, I understand the concept, but I actually have not experienced it in hand. So this will be kind of my first impressions of all that. And now there's crap from the card back all over my desk. But okay, just kind of breaking in the articulation here. Okay. Let's see what he can do without tearing these wings. Okay. It's definitely that, like, was it nylon that Storm has used in the past? And I haven't really had any of that tear on me before, but I also haven't posed the figures that it's come on before, like, super, like, intensely, and it hasn't been quite as attached like it is here on Banshee. So we'll see how this holds up. I hope it holds up over time, because I do like this costume for him. And this is going to be going on my main X-Men display. So let's get this. Okay. Just kind of testing out the limitations here, seeing how far he can bend and what he can bend before it gets too scary, if that's the word. So there's that. Okay. Boot swivel, did I test that? Okay. You can still go out. Okay. Now, the real test is to put him into a flying pose, or gliding, I guess, but it's still flying at the same time. So he needs to be like this. So I won't, okay. How does that? Let's turn this, do the same. But does that look natural when I have the legs like that, is the question. So, I don't know how he screams, but So, okay. I mean, interesting. I'm going to need to look at some artwork and make sure that I have this pose right. But so far, it doesn't seem too bad. It definitely does get, kind of tight up in here when you have it posed like this. But maybe it'll hold up and be just fine. I mean, it's not like I don't feel it ripping, but I can feel the tension between the little tabs. And I have watched a review or two of this guy, and people have said the tabs are kind of annoying, kind of in the way, kind of ruins the aesthetic. But I don't know. Here it's not so bad. I would say my biggest issue as of did I just tear it? No. Okay. I thought I heard a rip. Got kind of scared. But okay, I was seeing if I could do this pose or something like this. Maybe he's like coming down on an enemy and just something like that. No, my what I was trying to say is the fact that this isn't printed the same way on both sides, so that when I try to put him in a kind of rest, it's going to be exposed like that. But I wonder if maybe I can tuck it back a bit more, or maybe fold it different. I don't know. It naturally wants to kind of lay like this, I guess. And okay, I was afraid that it would be too much of a pain to really pose this guy, but I mean, just getting him into that initial flying pose that I think I'd be using, it seems to work. So let's put the neutral head. It does have this open hand and a trigger finger hand and a grip hand. These two I'm assuming are for the comic book, but why he needs a trigger finger, I don't know. So let's just kind of move those off to the side for now. And bring in the two comparisons I have here. I didn't want to bring out the whole giant size X-Men team just because that would just destroy my X-Men display. So I figured we'll just stick with these two because they were at the front of my display and wouldn't affect too much. So yeah, this is the Apocalypse Wave Wolverine, and this is the X-Men 97 Nightcrawler with the, what was it, Caliban Wave Nightcrawler head? No, Wendigo? Wendigo Wave Nightcrawler head. So there is that comparison. I was going to grab Siren, but I'll just save that. I know I'm going to take pictures with her event, or with him and her, so I'll just save that for the review. But yeah, now that we have taken a look at Banshee, let's move on to Miles. Alright, moving on to Miles, and this one is, I don't want to say controversial, because I'd say Maximum Spidey is controversial. This one is just, it's made some... Why can't I get him out? Oh. Jesus. I don't normally have that much trouble getting a tray out of a card back figure like that. Let's get that junk out of there. Okay. So as I was saying, it's not necessarily controversial, but just a interesting figure, and one that I was trying not to judge until I had it in hand, but we will see what I think. So yeah, there are the 3 comics I have so far. I should have Adam Warlock very, very soon, so I'll put his Infinity Gauntlet comic with these as well. You can see all those together. You can see that they've kind of got like a spine to them. They've got like tiny staple details. So yeah, that's fun. These will go with my Deadpool at some point. And why he's kind of, I guess I'll just say controversial, is because he looks a little disproportionate and those hips are very, very wide, and I'm seeing it here in hand more than I was in like videos and promo shots. I mean, the hips aren't as bad as I was seeing on the promo images, but I also don't have him out packaging yet, so maybe I'm wrong. Okay. So let's see about. Okay. Yeah, when you have them straight up and down, it's not great. Kind of do wide-legged like that, it's not so bad. It kind of helps. Because, like, if you... Oh, and he's got drop downs. Forgot about that. But, like, if you try to do it straight up and down, like, kind of really bring the legs in, I guess. Let's see. So, yeah, you have them straight up and down, it doesn't look great. You kind of angle it a little bit. It helps flow with the body better, but he also has drop downs, which will... Oh! Okay. It made, like, a creak sound, and I thought maybe I broke him. That scared me. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. The way the torso kind of sits, it looks disproportionate. Like, the legs are too small for the body in a way. Like, does it help if I extend these out? Like, does he look like better? Like, does he look taller and it's more proportionate? I mean, kinda. It kind of looks like he's the right height for the body now, but then the hips don't look good. I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird thing to be seeing in hand. Like, my brain is trying to process it properly, and it's for whatever reason I can't really pin down where the issue lies. Is it the head is too small for the body? I don't. Let's pop on the other head and just see how it looks. Kinda helps a little bit. I don't know, and I don't love the squinty eyes. I wish we had to, like, get another head as an option. Ready on all that. Let's get this there. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to pose this guy up and really see how he looks when he's in an actual pose compared to standing vanilla. It definitely, it feels like the legs are too short. That's but I think he's no taller than the other Ultimate Spider-Man, and yet he feels proportioned, so I'm not 100% sure what's going on here that isn't looking right. Because, like, I didn't even notice this, like, proportion issue until I got him in hand. Like, promo pics, it was the hips, but now in hand, I can't get over why he looks so off. And, okay, before we get into posing, let's just bring this guy in. So, why... Okay, I'm kind of getting, like, eye level. Like, I'm a little bit lower than you guys are viewing him. But what I'm seeing is the hips are much higher on this figure. And so they're not shoulder to shoulder. This one's just ever so slightly shorter, but I'm trying to really figure out what's going on here that I'm not liking. So, like, that's the difference there. And the hips are about level. So I guess the issue here is he needed more length in the legs, which I think is odd because Spider-Boy has the same legs, I think, right? He's got the same, like, those little, like, texture details on the hips. I think, yeah. So, Spider-Boy has the same legs. And he looks proportioned just fine. So, then is it the torso? And these legs just don't fit on this, like, torso proportionally? Because, let's see. If we get shoulder to shoulder, the torso's the same length, essentially. So, I guess... I don't know why it looks so off. Because the torsos are the same length, which means the Spider-Boy torso is the same length, because it's just retooled from this figure, I think. I'm like 90% sure. So if they're the same length, why does this look normal as opposed to this one? Is it the shoes? Because the shoes give him a little bit more height, but that shouldn't contribute to the proportions as much. And the arms are the same length. The arms are the exact same, so why? Is it literally just the torso? The fact that he has this super articulated torso is just whatever is going on with it, it throws it off. I don't. Again, and if why? This is the same the torso is the same length, and these are the same legs. Why is he shorter than him? I don't get it. It's breaking my brain. Okay, I'm sorry for going on this kind of ramble. Here's the last comparison I have for Miles. It is the Gamerverse Miles Morales. This is the one I've had on my Spider-Verse shelf, because I think it can work as a comic book Miles pretty decently. But yeah, there is that comparison. Let's get this out of the way. So he's got a grip hand, he's got a set of thwip hands, a fist, and a wall crawler, and the wall crawler and fist go to the same hand. So he's got 3 for his right and 2 for his left. I really wish they would have included a proper set of full Spider-Man hands, which would be, 2 thwips, 2 wall crawlers, 2 fists, and then just have the grip there for the comic book. But okay, let's just see how he poses up and how he looks in poses. Now that I've broken my brain with this proportion issue. So there is that. It's a standard thwipping pose. Doesn't look too bad. I think he still looks proportional this way, or in action. And the hips, I'm not even worried about now. It's not nearly as bad in hand as you would think, and are seeing. Yeah, there's gap, but just right now, this is not looking nearly as bad in hand. It's okay. At least to me, it does not bother me nearly as much as the other issues with this figure. Oh yeah, he doesn't have a wall crawling, so when I go to do this pose, I can't do both hands the way I want. Okay, so what I'm going for here is the kind of crouched pose, or the 3-point Spider-Man pose. So it's both feet and both hands, kind of like so. But I need to get the feet angled correctly, and that looks a little wonky. Yeah, and that's kind of what the hips are given, with the gappage. It allows you to do stuff like this, and that doesn't look so bad. Let's try... I'm trying to think of another Spider-Man pose to do. Okay, let's take that hand and take this hand and this one, and we'll pretend that there is a web in his grip. And just kind of do this, I guess. No, I'm gonna have that hand extended. I think there's something off about what I'm doing. I don't have a picture to reference what I'm trying to do, but you kind of get what I'm trying to do here. So he's swinging like that in the middle of an arc, going down, I guess. But okay, so he poses well. But I think the second you put him into a vanilla stance, he looks off. And just warning, the ankles seem a little gummy, and kind of the calves too. Not that it's gonna break, but it's just very bendable. So yeah, the second you get him into a vanilla stance, he does maybe kind of looks better now. Maybe my eyes are adjusting. Maybe I just didn't have the torso properly stood up right. I don't know. It's looking slightly better. Slightly. And as you can see, those hips, not so bad. But let's just bring in one last comparison. So here is Banshee compared to Spidey. And then for the other figure in this wave that I have already opened, here is the Dark Wolverine. Like I said, I should have Adam Warlock arriving tomorrow. So I'll have all four of these to compare to each other very, very soon in that video. So, yeah. So let's get these two posed up and we'll close out the video. Alright, here is Banshee and Miles Morales posed up on flight stands. Final thoughts before we close out. I think Banshee is better than I was expecting. I hear all kinds of grief about these wings, and they aren't too bad. I go super careful with it just because I don't want them to tear, but I haven't felt them tear. So I'm less scared of it happening now. I'm still going to be careful, but, once you have it in hand, you know how it feels. You kind of get used to it. For Miles, it's going to be one I really have to just kind of mess around with, He was feeling a lot better after I stopped posing him. Like, maybe just something clicked into place to where the proportions kind of worked themselves out. And the hips aren't nearly as bad. So I think ultimately what my biggest problem with that figure is the lack of more accessories. Like, the squinty eyes, I wish we had the option for wider eyes. I wish we had the proper sets of hands. It's just frustrating that he is lacking those items. And like Banshee comes with 2 grip hands and a wide open hand. He really should have had maybe another wide open hand instead of a trigger finger hand. But yeah, so it's a bit of a mixed bag. I think I'm enjoying Banshee a little bit more than Miles, but it's going to be one of those I have to really just start taking photos of the figures and posing them around and seeing how I'm feeling after I've done that. So, yeah, with all that being said, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope you found it a little bit informative, at least in regards to Miles. Make sure you like the video, make sure you are subscribed, and comment down below. What do you think of these figures? Have you bought them yet? Are they on their way? Let me know everything. And with all that being said, I will talk to you all in another video, another post, another time.